episode of MilSpouse Moguls with Military Spouse. I am your host, Moni Jefferson, and today we have Chriselle Fernandez. I'm so excited to sit down and talk to her because not only have I heard really great things about her company, but also I'm a fan. So let's just jump right in. Chriselle, tell us a little bit more about, first of all, for those of us that don't know who you are and what you do, let's just get started there.
Okay. Well, I am a proud military spouse. I was actually born in the Philippines. My dad joined the Army before I was born, so I grew up a military brat. I moved to Arizona for college for design school, and several years later, I met my husband while he was stationed there at Luke Air Force Base, and we are now currently at Tinker Air Force Base in Oklahoma City. I went to school for graphic design. I've always had great design careers. About 7 years ago, I transitioned over to become a usability analyst. So now my daily duties is I focus on customer experience, lots of research, data, user testing. And I realized that I really missed the daily creative aspect of my job. I was already making personalized things for us. My name is so unique, Chriselle. My husband's actually Hawaiian. His name's Kamanu. So you would never find like a pen or a mini license plate with our names on it at the store. So I was already making stuff for us, personalized gifts for family and friends. And then a friend of mine had told me about this new laser machine called a Glowforge. This was about 6-7 years ago now. So we purchased one. And originally we started with making simple things like frames and signs and engraved cutting boards. And at the time, we were kind of the first in our area to have one of those machines. So for the first 2 years, we were on social media, but honestly, about the first 2 years, our business kind of grew just from word of mouth, from family and friends in our local community. We're very fortunate that we live in an area where people just love personalized gifts. So we grew from having that one laser machine to 3, and now we have a 4th one on its way, and we still work out of our home.
Wow. First of all, so you're still working. You're working full time and doing this?
Yes.
Girl. Okay. So first of all, it says so much about creativity and being able to kind of work in your purpose of passion. So I know a lot of spouses, especially in our community, that do that. Like they'll have a full-time job or something that they do part-time, but really their heart is in this passion that you do. So first of all, tell us the name of your business again.
It's Sweet Pineapple Shop.
Okay.
I have a pineapple back there. I have my pineapple mug. It's just I've just always loved pineapples, even before I met my husband. I love everything tropical. So naturally it was just like, I wanted pineapple in my name. And it's crazy because I've connected with our customers so much, and I have pineapple everything on our page, even as like promo graphics, I'll have a pineapple on it. It's come to the point where we have customers in other states that I've never met or talked to in person, and they'll message me pictures of pineapple things that they see that they think are just cute. And they're like, hey, this reminded me of you. So I definitely done well with my pineapple brand, I think.
Yeah, it's become a mark. Yeah. No, like people know you by that, which is so exciting.
Yeah.
So tell us, you were talking a minute ago, because you already shared a little bit why you were inspired to start this business. And I have a question. Does your husband work with you? Because you were saying your husband a couple of times you mentioned, does he help you with some of it?
He does. Of course, he's active duty. So as you guys know, they're not. He's actually gone right now. So he does help me when he is here. He does a lot of our bigger projects. We do a lot of rustic flags and just things that are physically bigger in general. He'll help me. We have a lot of saws and things in the garage that I don't really like to touch. But yes, he does help me when he's here.
Okay, that's awesome. Yeah, so I'm a service-based business, and my husband's always helping me. I'm like asking for ideas, and he's always saying, well, when am I going to get paid? And I'm like, you are getting paid. Like, I have business, we have paycheck coming in, you're getting So he's always joking with me and saying, like, when am I going to get my cut for this idea or for this name or for this project? And so I'm sure you guys have a lot of banter. And my husband doesn't work in my company. He helps me like the day to day. And of course, problem solve and things like that.
Yeah.
He's always asking me, I don't know if your husband jokes around with any of that. Like, when am I going to get my employment benefits or
He does. And then when it comes to ideas, because I'm the designer, I've always been the designer. So, he'll throw some ideas at me. And then sometimes I'm just like, oh, that's cute. Okay.
We'll leave that there.
Yes. Thank you. I'll add that to the idea box.
Because you don't want to crush them. You're like, so thank you so much for helping. And in your mind, you're thinking like that wouldn't work. And there's like 10 other reasons why it wouldn't work, but you don't feel like explaining it. So you're like,
yes. Yeah.
I love that. So you talked a little bit about social media and how you in 2 years, you just got so busy that kind of social media, if I kind of interpret it the way you said it was, kind of became like put on the back burner. Tell us what social media platforms have been most effective for your business and how you tailor your content to each platform. Because when we're talking about selling our product or service, usually word of mouth right now is where people are going to buy their products or services. Mm-hmm. So tell me a little bit about the social media platforms you have found with your specific product and expertise that has worked well for you.
Facebook has worked the best for us. There's just so many people on there. It's just so easy to tag and share our business, whether it's our page or just a single post. So I'd say Facebook is the majority of our business. Instagram comes next. We have most of our customers are on both Facebook and Instagram, but I've found that we have just a handful that are on one or the other. We're a little late to the game with TikTok, but I did start that last year. For now, I've just been cross-posting the same pictures or posts with all of them or videos. I do post Instagram stories, and then I'll just share those to Facebook because most of our people are on Facebook.
Yeah. Yeah, I think, a lot of it too. I think what you're saying is like, my people are here. I feel like society pressures and business pressures, especially for spouses just starting out. What is some advice you can give them on that? Like, I always tell spouses, like, you don't have to be everywhere. Figure out what works really well for you. And you're not giving into like, I have to be on Pinterest and Instagram and Twitter and Facebook. Like, I'm sure at one point you had to like, maybe you were on multiple platforms and maybe you pulled back, or did you always just kind of follow your gut and intuition and listen to where your customers were?
We did actually we still do. We have Twitter, but I was never really a Twitter person. So I was kind of cheating. I was just automatically sharing our posts from Instagram to Twitter. We also have Pinterest, but I don't know. We didn't get a lot of traffic from there, and it just didn't make sense to me to just keep pursuing those things because most of our customers are on Facebook. So I just kind of tailored to that. It's just so easy for me to keep track of them on there. I don't know. And you're right. I mean, there's just so much pressure from, just social media. Like people just think you have to be on there all the time, all day, every day. And to me, it's like, that was stressful for me. It just didn't work, especially, I work full time and I'm a mom. I have kids in sports and my husband's gone. And so when I stepped back and really thought like, this is what society is saying, that in order to be successful, you have to do this all the time, every day. But that didn't work for me. So really, it's just, you need to figure out what works for you and just go from there.
Yeah, so, I love that.
I just, I still work full time. This is a side hustle, even though it feels like a full-time business. So I really had to work hard on time management and just set time aside, different parts of the day to read messages or respond to comments, because before that I found I was doing it throughout the day. And then I went through this rabbit hole of, I'm just going to respond to this person. And then I'm going to check on that. And hours later, it's like, gosh, where did the time go? I didn't do anything productive. And it was just like trial and error for us, finding the sweet spot of when to post things. I really figured out a lot of moms are our customers. So I found that posting in the evenings during the weekdays works best. And then early weekend mornings. So just trial and error over the last 4 or 5 years. I figured out what works for our pages and what doesn't.
I love that you said, you know, you listen, you have your intuition, you're not going to give into those pressures. A lot of spouses that are just starting their business, or even spouses right now that are feeling overwhelmed, social media is a huge time suck. Like you said, like you will go down this rabbit hole and be like, oh, I got to do this and I got to do this. Oh, and this person. Oh, let me check out this page, or oh, let me coach this person. Like you get into this whole rabbit hole. How are you managing the time? Do you decide? Do you schedulers? Like, how are you making that fit into your day?
I have reminders.
And because you did mention, like in the beginning, you're just doing like whenever throughout the day. Like as soon as you get that alert, you're like, oh, respond. You know what I mean? Because you feel like you have to respond right away.
Yeah. I started several years ago now. I put reminders on my, like calendar reminders on my phone, like it's time to check messages or time to check email. And then sometimes when I remember, I'll set a timer, and it's like when the timer goes off, okay, stop. You need to move on to the next thing or whatever. But sometimes it's hard, but just having those alerts and reminders pops up helps me. Otherwise, you're right. I will sit there and scroll and find other things and respond. And yeah, it turns into a mess.
It happens to all of us. It happens to all of us. Don't feel the girl. It happens to me. I look at the phone. I'm like, oh, it's 12:32. I probably should go to bed, you know, because you go down this rabbit hole of, oh, that's a great idea. So you're doing so many different things on social. You're selling your product. If you see something, you're like, oh, I could do something similar. So now you're doing product research. Then you find something else. You're like, oh, maybe let me pitch this person. So now you're thinking of pitching. So there's all these things. And then if your friend posts a picture of a doggy, you're like, oh, cute dog. You know, you want to like be engaged so much. Tips, those time blocking tips and reminders are huge. I use those in my day-to-day as well. And it's usually like in the afternoon, early in the morning when I'm having my coffee for like 10 minutes. I'm like, while I'm having my coffee, and when I'm done, I shut it off. And then in the afternoon, I'll do something for like 10 minutes if I have time. And then in the evening. So I think we cannot allow social media to take over all of our stuff, because you're thinking of billable and workable hours and bandwidth, like you said, because you have to either be creating or making money. So I love that you said that. Tell us a little bit about how you're measuring social media campaigns and the metrics that you use to track them. Because when spouses are first starting their business, they are told, and we are all told, and anybody in business, like, post on social media. But if you don't know why you're posting, then the post is irrelevant if there's no call to action, or if you're not figuring out or tracking metrics. So share with us like what metrics are, what works for you, and how you're tracking them for a spouse who wants to learn more about that.
Honestly, we are still using the internal tools and insights that each platform uses, like Meta Business Suite, to view engagement. That's just, it's worked for us. And I think as a new spouse just starting out on social media, use those internal tools on those platforms because they're free and they're there. I am researching other things. I've looked into Hootsuite and Sprout Social. So if you have recommendations, that would be great. But yeah, I would say, as you know, someone just starting out, use the tools that are already built in to your platforms. They're there and they're free and they're connected to your stuff automatically.
Yeah, I was going to say free is a big one for spouses first starting out. Like, you do not have to pay for this huge platform that grabs all these different analytics unless your job is to create analytics with whatever you're doing with your social. And I love that you said the Meta Business Suite, because it grabs Instagram and Facebook metrics really well.
Exactly.
And creates reports. And in that, you found when your spouses or when your clients are online, and you said in the evening, moms have time to check their social in peace in the evening. So that's really smart too, to know, hey, my audience are moms and they're busy during the day. So I know I need to share my information or my content in the evenings.
Yeah.
I really love that. I use Agora Pulse, but we actually we use more platforms, but we're also targeting different clients, right? So you're targeting B2B for Facebook and Instagram, but we're also targeting our B2C, but we're targeting B2B on LinkedIn for partnerships and sponsorships. So the different platforms, depending on how you show up, you may need to be on them. And then use those tools in those platforms to measure it. And then do like a monthly audit. How everything, once you get that report, like what showed up, what social media posted well, this post didn't do well, but a post with me in it did really well. So people want to know more about me. So we do the same thing. It's all trial and error, finding out when people are on social. We're posting a lot early in the morning lately, like 6:30, 7 a.m., because I find that people are on social during that time. Like after 8 o'clock, they're busy. So that's such great advice. Tell me one tip when it comes to social media, one tip that you would give them to avoid when they're using social media.
I would say not posting at all. Algorithms are always changing. You need to, I know you can't post something all the time every day, but even something as simple as a funny picture or a motivational post or a personal picture of yourself, it just lets people know that you're still there, and it keeps your page active. You mentioned personal. So I've found that posts that we do with personal pictures have higher engagement because people like to see that you're real. Everyone who knows me comes to our page and knows I love pineapples. And there's just been this connection. So I think one reason why we're so successful is that because we have been able to connect with a lot of our customers on a personal level. They want to know that you're real. Also, just make a dedicated post to thank your customers. They're the reason why you're in business. So you want to remind them that you're thankful for them and that you appreciate them. So for us, a lot of personal posts that I post of me and my family, or just the simple thank you posts, have just gotten really good engagement.
Yeah, and when we're first starting a business, we're told to get a logo. I remember I posted about this. I spent $500 on a logo when I first started. Because back in 2014, that was the thing to do, to have a logo, and that showed that you were a professional. And I don't even use that logo anymore. It is true. I don't even use it. So when spouses come and they're starting a business and they're like, hey, I'm looking for a logo design, I'm like, please go to Canva. Please don't pay anybody to do a logo. Just use your initials and keep it moving. Because at the end of the day, like you said, people want to feel a connection. And that connection is through photos, through shared experience, through meaning of why you created your product or service, and that will keep them coming back. So if you are listening to this and you're going to go create a logo, do not create one. Do not pay somebody. And if you do create one, just use Canva. It is absolutely free. And share more about yourself. When we're starting a business, especially nowadays, we're so inundated with social media and people selling that when you're just having a thank you post, people stop, because it's like, oh, there's no link in this. It's just a thank you. Yeah. And I really love that. And I think a lot of people could do that more. Consistency is key. Showing up, even if you just have it like once a week, like you said, just have something going out there. One of the things and I'm sure you've experienced this, where you don't see a business for a while and then all of a sudden they pop up and they're like, buy this. And I'm like,
yeah,
we're big for 8 months.
Exactly. Yeah. That's, that was the other thing, is that don't just post products all the time. Like, it goes back to the realness factor. They want to make sure that you're real. And if you can't post every day, at least post something. I actually went to a page the other day that I bought something from them like a few years ago, and I needed something else. And I went to their page and their last post was from like 2021. So I thought, wonder if they're still in business. So I reached out and they are. And I'm like, maybe you should post something.
Yeah.
Because to me, it's like, you might be out of business right now.
Yeah, you're right. And it's relevancy and consistency
Mhm.
and just coming up with a quick schedule. One of the things that I love to use that I started using earlier in my first started my business, my public relations business, was just having a theme for each day or
Mm.
every other day, and then just posting about that and sitting down and creating about our products, behind the scenes, about my why and things like that. And so those are really great strategies to, if you take them and you actually sit down and do them, you're good for a whole month. You know, even if you just create 15 or 10 social media posts, and it's not all selling and it's not just promotion, but it's sharing the journey of why you started. And I feel like that really resonates with people, with like what you said, they really appreciate that.
Mhm.
So I want to talk a little bit more about what inspired you to start your business, or like what specifically around your passion, your visual, you already shared you're a designer. How did you grow your business around social media and your passion? Like, how did you do that? How did it explode, like you said?
Well, so personalized gifts is our business. So I always, like I said, you know, our names are so unique. We could never find anything with our names on it. So I've always focused on making things unique and special for our customers. I love doing photo engravings and handwritten recipes. They always have a unique story with them. They've been the best sellers for us, and people truly appreciate just the thought and care that we put into those things that just mean so much to them. So it's just, for me, it's just connecting with people and being able to produce these personalized gifts that mean so much to them. It's turned into, you know, a handwritten recipe of someone's grandmother's favorite recipe. Like, one customer bought one and then their entire family bought more. It's growing through that. Just people understand the passion that I have in things that I create. And that just motivates me. I love it. I love connecting with people. I love creating these special gifts, and it turns into this domino effect.
Yeah.
And, you know, I have a lot of customers that I've never met that are in other states, and I've done one thing for a family member, and then it's trickled down to several of their family members.
Oh.
So it's just, I don't know. It's
Like
just
a legacy. You're building a legacy, and you're creating this very unique relationship with people through a cared for product or common interest of something that means so much to them. I
Mhm.
love that. I love that you talked about the handwritten. I didn't even think about anything like that. Wow. Is that a good seller of yours, like the handwritten ones?
Especially around Mother's Day and Christmas. I'd say most of we do a lot of ornaments and stuff during Christmas, but our top biggest thing is handwritten recipes. And we've also started, instead of just putting them on cutting boards, I'll put them on big signs.
Oh, wow.
And as far as photo engravings, I also started, it's always awful when someone dies. But a couple of years ago, I had a customer say, like, you know, I have this voicemail from my dad, and I want to capture it somewhere where it's easy to just listen to. So I figured out to do a photo engraving, and I took her dad's voicemail and I added it to a QR code to this photo engraving. So now every time she walks by, she can scan it with her phone and she can hear her dad's voicemail.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah. So
We're not supposed to cry. Oh my gosh. What do you?
yeah, it's just been wonderful. I mean, social media, it's, you know, it's being social, it's connecting with people. You want to connect them to you and to your brand. So on social, it's like there's so much negativity on social media. And you just want to have your customers have a good experience with you.
Right,
Be
right.
yourself, be kind, be helpful, just be positive and uplifting. And so yeah, photo engravings are my favorite.
Wow, that is a story. I love that. Tell us more about how you hope to inspire other military spouses to use social media to grow their business.
I'd say I just want to let people know, like, don't be scared. Just get started. Like you said, don't focus so much on having a logo. You have all these things that say this is what you have to do, but you really have to figure out what works for you. But the important thing is to just get started.
Mm-hmm.
You can spend so much time trying to make things perfect when really you just need to get started. You have this product or this service that you want to share, just do it. And then you can fine tune things along the way. And don't be afraid to ask for help. I'm a designer, but I have a lot of design friends that I refer to. So, just know that you don't have to do it all on your own. Like I said, my husband's gone all the time, but we don't have immediate family or friends here, but we have a lot of neighbors and friends that have just really become like family to us. So to me, it's like, you just get started. Just know that you can get started and you don't have to be alone.
Yeah. And we do talk about that a lot, right? Perfection. People are waiting for the whole website to be built out and this to be done and that to be done. And like, listen, just put the landing page up with a link, just somewhere to send people. And once it's like putting your best foot forward. Like as soon as you take that one step, it almost gives you that gravital push to get to the next thing and then do the next thing and the next thing. Because if not, so many of those things that you want to do to create this perfect business that, by the way, is going to change. We're going to pivot name, we're going to pivot mission, or maybe what you're creating is going to pivot through time, or the services that you offer. And so just being very open to that. And I love that you said ask for help. Mm-hmm. Community is key. Like having designers in your area that do something similar, who are designers, to look at your work and to like, hey, they have my best interest at heart. They want to see me win. That's really everything, because it's so lonely building a business. First of all, it's lonely in general to build a business. That's a military spouse that you move, so you don't even have community yet. So having that virtual tribe community to bounce ideas or share things with, or if you have issues, you can say, hey, I'm trying to do this. Have you done this? Or do you have any suggestions? That is so important in growing a business.
I'm laughing you mentioned website, because I will be honest, I'm horrible at that, because we've been in business for a little over 5 years and my website is still not done. I work full time, guys, but we've obviously still made it through. That's why I say that Facebook has been so great to us, because, people order from us through Facebook. So it works. Yeah. I'd say my website is 95% done. I do have a landing page. It's said it's under construction the last 5 years. I'm horrible, I know, but it's almost done.
How many years have you been in business?
It's been a little over 5 years.
And have you moved product, and have you moved these machines?
Have we moved like physically, or?
Yeah, like have you moved physically and had to move all your products or your machines yet?
Kind of. We moved down the street. We have not PCS.
Yes.
Yeah. And actually, I guess that's a success story on its own. Is we bought a new house because we needed more room for our business. In our old house, my husband and I were sharing our home office, and it was awful because we were stepping on each other. And we were fortunate that we found a house just a mile north of us that had the space that we needed. So we have moved just up the street.
Yeah. So you haven't PCS'd your equipment yet or anything like that? Because I was going to ask, like, what are some tips for that? Because that can be a headache.
Yeah.
As well.
I would say for us, for very expensive equipment like that, we actually did move it ourselves, like in our own personal vehicles. We have a huge laser machine in the garage that needed to be on a trailer, but we did not use the movers for that. It was us and our close friends that moved. Yeah. So I'm sorry for PCSing. I don't have any advice other than if you can fit it in your car, then take it.
Yeah. And I was going to say, it's probably really heavy.
Yes.
Yeah. I feel like over your your weight limit, but also it might be cheaper to still have it be over the weight limit versus if you hire somebody or ship it or whatever.
Yeah.
Wow, that's crazy. Well, and congratulations. Like that speaks to the evolution of your passion project that you started, that you evolved without a completely finished website, using only Instagram and Facebook.
Yeah.
I mean, it really speaks to, hey, just use social media and be honest and authentic and make it an intimate conversation between you and the people that you serve.
Mhm.
And I really love that. And I feel like that is a lot of what people need to gravitate towards, instead of, hey, I see this person doing X, Y, and Z. Well, maybe that works for them, but that might not work for
Right.
you. And being niche is okay. And only serving people who like pineapples is fine. If like, you know what I mean? Like, it's okay. It's unique. It's original. And your client base, you understand them, you know how to speak to them, you know how to connect with them. And that's so important. So let's talk a little bit about how the military community support, how they can support and promote entrepreneur efforts amongst military spouses. So we have our own military spouse community, and we're always supporting each other, like comment, like referrals. Like I know for us, we do that all the time, but how do you think the military community in general can support?
Really exactly what you said. You don't always have to buy something for someone. There's always this like, oh, if I want to help my friend, I have to buy something. You don't. You share about your friend's business. You tag them, talk about them, refer them. That's the easiest way, and it's the cheapest way.
Yeah, it's free.
It's free. Exactly.
15 seconds.
Yes, exactly. Find your local military wives groups and post on there. It doesn't just have to be a generic Facebook group. I'm assuming that every military installation has its own group of pages. I know here at Tinker, there's actually several wives pages. I know a lot of them are filled with just gossip, but
Yeah.
some of them are really good for your business. And we're lucky also because the neighborhood that we just moved from, there are so many military families there. And never be afraid to just say, hey, I'm a mil spouse looking to grow my business. And don't be afraid to do that.
I love that. That's a whole post. That's like, I'm a mil spouse and I'm looking to grow my business. This is how you can help me. Share.
Yeah.
I have sorority sisters that are not military at all, and they know that at the Association of Military Spouse Entrepreneurs, we only serve military spouses, but they share my stuff anyway. Mm-hmm. And that, like, it's almost as good as a purchase. Like, you're like, yes, thank you. You just, thank you so much, because you don't know who in their audience would need a product or something.
We've gotten a lot of customers just from our friends sharing. Actually, just happened last week. I made some pins for graduation lace for a friend, and she posted them on her Instagram. And within 5 minutes, I had one of her friends in another state contact me for that. So you never know. It's like, it's just another way to reach other people that you didn't post directly. So like, just post and share.
Yeah. No, absolutely. So if you're listening to this and you know a military spouse business owner, go on your LinkedIn, your Facebook, your Twitter, your Instagram, and just share and say, hey, my friend has a shop, or my friend is a military spouse business owner. We have the highest underemployment and unemployment rate in the country. And I can't even fathom how we got here, how we got this far. And so just sharing can really make a difference in a military spouse's life. So if you're listening, do both. All right. So let's talk a little bit about one person who maybe has inspired you in your life so far, and why.
I would honestly have to say, I can't just say one. It's my parents.
Oh.
All my life, they've worked so hard for me and my brothers. They were born in the Philippines. Like I said, my dad he joined the Army before I was born. Even now that they're retired, they still help us and our kids whenever they can, or whatever they want to do, and other people. My dad's always working on something or helping someone. I remember when he retired, he was kind of just retired for about 6 months and he went back to work. And then he did contract work for several years after that. He's just always been a hard worker. And my mom, she just always made us feel so safe. When we were little, like being a military dependent and now a spouse are two different worlds.
Oh yeah.
And I have so much more respect for my mom. Just thinking back to my childhood, like she did such a great job at keeping things together. So like if my dad was deployed or TDY and she was stressed, I never felt that.
Yeah.
So I have so much more respect for her. So I definitely get my drive and my passion for working hard and just putting family first from my parents. And I'm just so thankful that they just set that foundation for us.
Oh my God. Listen, y'all need to grab tissues. There needs to be a disclaimer on this entire episode that says, grab a tissue. I know, I love that. I'm a military kid too. And I actually wrote an article. Like you said, it's completely different when you're a military kid and you're a spouse and you don't really realize the intricacies and the inner working of trying to navigate and keep things homey and warm and supportive as a spouse. As a kid, you're just like, maybe I'm mad because I moved, but I really like that I have a new room and I can redesign it. Or, you have new friends and you're learning new things. And there's a lot of sadness that comes with that, but there's so many great things. I will say I love being a military kid. I'm so glad I had that life. I truly am, because it really afforded me experiences and people and opportunities I've never had before. And I'm sure you can attest to that as well.
Yes.
And so seeing it as a spouse now, and you're like, whoa, because I feel alone, and how am I supposed to make this work? And I love that you say your parents inspire you.
Mm-hmm.
So okay, let's move on to kind of final thoughts. Back to social media. What types of resources would you share with military spouse audience, or a spouse who's maybe just starting, or a spouse who feels overwhelmed with trying to be on every platform with social media? What are some 2 or 3 tools that have worked for you?
Well, this is for the MilSpouse business owner. A few years ago, I was invited to join, before it was called Facebook Leaders Network. Now it's MetaBoost Leaders Network. It's a group on Facebook. You actually have to apply for that one. There is a link on their page. So it's MetaBoost Leaders Network. But there's also another one that's called MetaBoost, that's public, that anyone can join. So for us, that's just been such a great resource and tool, because it's specifically for small business owners. So they provide tips, and they answer lots of questions and just all things small business. And it's not just Facebook people, it's actual small business owners. And they'll share tips and tricks on their business. And everybody's just so helpful. We got locked out of our Facebook page the beginning of this year. We are licensed with University of Oklahoma and Oklahoma State University to sell products with their logo on it. And my Facebook page got shut down because it said someone had reported us for trademark. And I was devastated. It was awful. It was like a 4-month-long ordeal. And when that happened to us, I learned it had happened to a lot of people that I knew, and there was nothing they could do about it. They lost it. Like they lost their page. But because I was in this Leaders Network group and I had a contact, I was able to reach out to them and they helped me with the process of getting my page back. So that's a very unique situation. But these Leaders Network groups on Facebook are great. They're just great resources. They have a conference every year also, which is different motivational speakers. And I remember, I think it was last year, they actually had Magic Johnson as a speaker. It was really cool. But it just motivates you to just, things that you can do to stay on track on your small business journey. But also look into local groups or pages in your area to network or advertise in. We are part of this Oklahoma City women's group. There's a lot of small business owners on there. It's been a great resource for us. We've gained a lot of business from women that in that group. We've gotten referrals for things that we need, and we have a presence on there. And you know, in our local groups, it's like when people are asking, "Hey, I need a cutting board," we get tagged.
Yeah.
So yeah, so I'd say for a really good tool is to see about those meta business groups. That's just been a great resource for us.
Yeah, it's so scary to hear about and it's crazy that it's scary, like, because it's like we've worked so hard on this page. We have so many followers that are actually engaged. They love what we're doing. And I've heard horror stories about Facebook pages. So I'm glad you got it back. I'm also part of the Meta Business Leaders Network. So I'm in there too. I love everything that they do, and it's really good. And it's free to apply.
Yes.
And the application is really easy. So if you're listening to this, you should definitely go and join it, just like she said, because it is a great place. And it's a great community to have on top of the military spouse community. And I think a lot of times spouses forget about the local networks.
Yep.
Because they're so focused, and we're just naturally, we gravitate towards the Facebook groups because we don't have we don't have roots somewhere. Mm-hmm. So the local networks are amazing. And you're right, they can really help build your business up in that certain area, especially with the tagging. And when you do good work, people just talk about it. Yeah. So I love those referrals. So any final thoughts, thinking about, military spouses who are starting businesses and, just want to get started, or somebody who wants to do products or engraving like you? Any final thoughts on that?
Like I said, just get started. You want to just get your name out there. Don't be afraid to ask for help.
Yeah.
Just connect with people. Use your local community, and it grows. And things don't happen instantly. Like for us, our business has grown over 5 years, but for us, it's like staying consistent, being active, being personal. They want to know you. They want to know the person behind the brand, that you're real, and they just, customers open up to you and they build relationships with you, and it's just get started and be you and be helpful.
I love that. Get started, be you, and be helpful.
Yeah.
And I think that's a perfect segue, Chriselle, to wrap up our time together. It's been really, really great meeting with you, learning more about your business. Tell us where we can find you on Facebook and Instagram. What's your handle?
Sweet Pineapple Shop on Facebook, and then on Instagram, it's Sweet SWT Pineapple Shop.
And do you have any? Oh, go ahead.
The website, obviously, that's not done yet, is sweetpineappleshop.com. So hopefully soon.
And any things that you have coming up that we should be looking out for?
We're getting ready to post Father's Day stuff.
Yes.
After that, it'll actually be back to school, which is crazy because they just got out. But I've already had people asking me for back to school signs. So we'll start posting that too. But it is summertime, so we're not as active in the summertime, obviously, because we want to spend time with our kids. And also my husband's on a crazy TDY schedule right now. So our time together is really valuable. Obviously, he's going to be gone a lot this summer. So we'll have some breaks in between so we can spend time together. And that's the other great thing about being a small business owner, is you can set your schedule.
Mm-hmm.
So don't be afraid to tell people that you're taking a break.
Exactly. Exactly. And I feel like, telling them that you're taking a break and having that expectation gives you the space for more creativity, actually, when you shut everything off, and you have to put your family first. So absolutely. Well, thank you so much for joining us today. And thank you guys for listening. Absolutely. Make sure to tune in next time. And for now, Chriselle, thank you so much for being here. We'll see you guys later.
Bye.